Good evening, and welcome to this week's edition of The Message. I'm your host, Donatus King. We'll spend this next hour with one purpose in mind, and that one purpose is delivering the message that God is Almighty. Everything that ever was, is now, or ever will be, is a piece of God. Everything that ever was, is now, or ever will be, was made by God. Everything that ever happened, is happening right now, or ever will happen, was made to happen by God. God is a master plan for all time and all creation. God is Almighty. The message is brought to you by, is produced by the Society of Knowledge Incorporated. The Society is an interdenominational ministry. Our members come from various different religious and spiritual backgrounds. We have various different religious and spiritual beliefs. Although we come from different backgrounds and have different beliefs, there's one belief that we share. There's one piece of knowledge that we hold in common. And that's the knowledge that there is a being. By no matter what name we may have been taught to call that being, by no matter what name we may have come to know that being, whether that name be God, Allah, Yahweh, Jesus, Jehovah, Buddha, nature, by no matter what name, we know that there is a being that possesses not some of the power, not most of the power, but all of the power. That's the reason we do this show, and the only reason we do this show. Deliver the message that that being that personally I call God, that being is indeed Almighty. Today's date, August the 26th, 2021. As I said tonight, our discussion topic, Native American spirituality. After we have our religious, spiritual discussion, we'll have our words of inspiration. And those will be coming, we'll start in the book of Exodus, chapter 11, verse 8, and we'll see how far we get with that tonight. What you see on your screen right now, that is our main website. That's www.godisalmighty.org. I invite you to log that into your web browser in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can go to that website and you can find out more about the Society of Knowledge. We have a blog page, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. You don't have to worry about writing all those addresses down, because when you go to that main website, there are links that you can just click on. It'll take you to all of our social media platforms. And we haven't really been utilizing too much lately, actually at all, utilizing it much at all, our Instagram. But we are getting more involved with that Instagram, using that more. And I'm inviting and encouraging all of you out there that are watching, if you want to get involved with this ministry, if you want to help us deliver the message that God is Almighty, and you are familiar with the social media platforms, please give me a call, contact me, go to our website, and there are ways to get in touch with me on the website. And you can get involved in helping with our social media ministry. Our social media ministry. So it's times have changed. I'm not saying they are changing. Times have changed. Nowadays, the television is not really as popular as it was in the past as far as getting the word out. Right now, you look and it may be 4 or 5 people in the household, and those 4 or 5 people will be either on their telephones or their laptops or their computers on social media. So that is that's where we are in the world today as far as communications. And say the purpose of this show, the only purpose of this show, is to deliver the message that God is Almighty. So if you want to help us deliver that message and do it on social media, come get involved with our social media ministry. And again, you can contact us at that website and someone will get in touch with you. Tonight's broadcast is coming out of New Orleans, Louisiana, and is being delivered by the New Orleans Center of the Society of Knowledge. But on the first and third Sundays at 9 p.m., the message is delivered by Messenger Ryan King and Messenger Corey Levier on Facebook Live at the Messenger Facebook page. And that show is produced by the Lafayette, Louisiana Center of the Society. You see on the screen there, the Society of Knowledge has a Lafayette, Louisiana Center. That's presided over by Messenger Ryan King. We have an Opelousas Center. That's presided over by Messenger Corey Levier. And we have a Central Florida Center. And that's presided over by Messenger Tainav L. COVID-19, please get vaccinated. I'm making a plea, and I've been doing this for the past 3 weeks, and I will continue to do this every week. You'll see this announcement of please get vaccinated. Every day it seems though I'm hearing of someone that's close to me, either a close friend or a family member, that's being diagnosed, testing positive for COVID. Hearing of folks being hospitalized because of COVID. COVID is real. COVID is real. A lot of our young folks that did not want to get vaccinated. And I just remind you that what you're doing is you're not only putting yourself in danger, you're putting a lot of other people in danger. You're putting your loved ones in danger. Just think about it. There's so many young people, staying young, in that 20 to 35 age group that are coming down with COVID now. And even though they may recover, while they are ill, while they are down, they're depriving their family members of their presence. They're having their family members to worry about whether or not they're going to make it through. So don't be selfish. Go ahead and get the vaccination. I'm asking you, please get vaccinated. 8. Previous recorded episodes of the message can be watched on television. That's right. We are not only are we on social media, but we are also on television. In the New Orleans area, we're on Cox Cable Orleans on channel 76. That's Wednesdays at 1 p.m. and Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. We're going to work on getting on TV in the Central Florida area and also in the Lafayette and Opelousas areas. The previous recorded episodes right now can be seen on television in the New Orleans area, Cox Cable Orleans channel 76, and on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. and Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. And I remind you that you can always 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, go to our YouTube page, and that's located at DNK Messenger. Go to our YouTube page, and we have hundreds of videos, previously recorded videos on our YouTube page. So you can go there. I invite you to go there. Bethel Bible College is celebrating the 23rd year graduation, and that will be this coming Saturday, August 28th, 2021 at 11 a.m. And that ceremony will take place at the Holy Faith Church, also known as the Tree May Church, and that's located at 1325 Governor Nichols Street here in the city of New Orleans. Before we go into our study, our religious spiritual study, I do want to just take a minute, for those of you that are in the New Orleans area, Southwest, actually South Louisiana, period, from the Texas border of Louisiana to the Mississippi border of Louisiana. We are under a watch for a tropical storm Ida. And Tropical Storm Ida is projected to make landfall somewhere in the South Louisiana area. And it's projected that it may even reach a Category 3 level. So I'm encouraging all of you in the Gulf Coast area, and that's from Texas all the way through Mississippi and Alabama. Encourage you to get your preparations, start your preparations now. Making sure, number one, making sure that you have enough gas in your vehicle, if you have a vehicle, enough gas to be able to evacuate. Number two, making sure that you have cash. Because evacuating, it's good to have cash on you. Make sure that you have an adequate supply of medications. Some of you are on daily medications and you may be displaced for a while. If you think about 16 years ago, when we were preparing for Hurricane Katrina, some of us thought that we might evacuate and only be gone for a day or two. And a lot of us wound up being gone for months. And not only did 2 months. And during that chaotic period, sometimes it's difficult to get in touch with your doctors, get your prescriptions refilled. So you have a day or two right now. It's not projected to really get really bad until Saturday night, Sunday morning. So you have a day or two to make sure you have enough prescription medication. Also, to make sure you get all your paperwork, all your important documents. Have that in a nice waterproof container so that if you do have to evacuate, you will have that with you. So the time is now. We have enough time right now. We have a heads up. And those of you that plan on staying, and make sure that you have the basics. Water, canned goods, a can opener that's not electric. Because the electricity goes out, you could have a whole lot of canned food, but no way to open up the can. Charge up with the batteries you have. A lot of you have those little portable power packs, and you can plug your phones in. You do a couple of those, and make sure they're charged up. Just prepare. Do all the things that are necessary to prepare for the storm. Because what I'm saying, this one, let's say, it's projected to be a Category 2, maybe even my wife is joining us on Facebook. And as always, all of our Facebook viewers, I invite you and encourage you to hit the like button, hit the share button, start a watch. All right. Let's see. I think those are all of the announcements for this evening. So let's get into our spiritual discussion. All right. And as we say tonight, our topic is Native American spirituality. Native American spirituality. Instead of calling their beliefs and practices a set religion, some Native Americans refer to it as a system of spirituality that permeates every aspect of their lives. Religion is a set doctrine of supernatural beliefs, ceremonies, and activities associated with it, and includes things like concepts of deities, spirits, or ghosts. What happens to a person after death in certain special occasions throughout a person's life. So, as I said, some Native Americans don't call they do a religion. We call it a system of spirituality. There's no one holy book, a set of particular laws that all tribes follow, or even for the individuals. Unlike the most popular faith systems around the globe, Native beliefs were not intrinsically tied to politics and economies either. The Lakota term, Mitakayu or Yasu, means that all are related, or all beings are relations of each other. This explains the belief that spirit exists in everything, or that everything is connected in some ways. Now that belief, let me stop the screen share there. That belief is very similar to what we talk about here in the society. And you saw our acknowledgement earlier, the screen that we talked about, that everything that ever was, is now, ever will be, is a piece of God. Sounds very similar to that Native American belief that spirit exists in everything, everything. So we see that concept, and that's great. That's one of the good things about studying. You know, some spiritual shows, some churches, some religious organizations, they'll have Bible study, and they'll study the Bible, Christian Bible. That's it. They won't go outside of that Bible study. Some Jewish synagogues, the only thing that they'll study will be the Jewish text. There are some religions that limit their discussion to whatever the religious books of that religion are. It's Islam, and they'll only study the Quran. Here in the society, and on the message, we study everything and anything. We study the Bible, we study the Talmud, we study the Quran, we'll study the I Ching, we'll study everything and anything related to religion and spirituality. As you see the backdrop, you see all those different symbols representing different religions. See the Star of David. It's kind of hard. Some of the other symbols you might not know what they are. Might not know later on. But I mention this because instead of being afraid of learning about what other people believe, learning about other religions, beliefs, instead of being afraid of that, when we embrace it, we come to find out that there are some core values, some core beliefs that no matter what name we call ourselves, those core beliefs we share. As I highlighted a minute or so ago, the Lakota Native Americans, this belief that there's a spirit in everything, that in all that's connected. And I said that that's very, very similar to what we acknowledge to be true in the society. And guess what? That core concept is a concept that was spoken about by Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ said, come to know that I am in the Father, and the Father in me, and you in me. We're all part of the one. The Bible speaks about the Alpha and the Omega. Now, if God is the Alpha and the Omega, and that means that there's nothing outside of God. All connected, all a piece of the one. And that one is indeed Almighty. All right, let's see. We have some more to share, and I just had to stop the screen share just for a minute so that we could expound on that point. Shamanism is the oldest documented spiritual belief system, dating back 40,000 years. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. This is some information I got off the internet, but it's kind of, it says that it's the oldest documented spiritual belief system. Well, I don't know. When you look at some things in Egypt, particularly the pyramids, you look at some of the caves in France, you look at some of the other carvings around the world, and whether or not they date back more than 40,000 years, I don't know. Actually, scholars, if not the scholars, that are in disagreement about the oldest spiritual belief system. But as far as this information from this particular person who posted this online, shamanism is the oldest documented spiritual belief system. It's practiced in every indigenous culture across the planet. It is an open source practice rooted in the presence, gratitude, and the interconnectivity of all things. Okay. Now, I have to just stop for a second and let's get into a little bit more discussion about the shamanism. Because when I put the photo up there, and it looks like we're talking about a Native American shaman. Well, really, this information that I'm reading, it's not restricted to the Native Americans. It's not restricted. It's encompassing. It's encompassing something that in some areas is called a witch doctor, some areas a medicine man, some areas a magician, some areas a priest, some areas different names. But it's the concept of an individual that's able to tap into knowledge that the common everyday man doesn't utilize. Like someone that looked at a book full of calculus equations and understand exactly what it's talking about, whereas another person could look at that same book, see those same symbols, and not have a clue about what they mean. And that's a very good analogy. You can put a book full of scientific formulas in front of someone. They'll be able to read those formulas, understand those equations, and be able to prepare a medicine that can help. And then you can have someone that doesn't know what those formulas mean, doesn't understand those equations, and open that book up because they don't understand it. They can't prepare that medicine. You stay sick and you die. Well, this is what we talk about shamans. See, because the universe is a book. The universe is just full of information. Some folks know how to read that book. Some folks understand what that book is saying. You see, thousands of years ago, there were some folks that were able to read that book and able to read a certain page in that book and learn about the movement of the planets, the stars, and learn that watching the place in the sky of those planets and stars, they're able to predict when the weather's going to change, when winter's going to come, when spring is going to come. That became so important because they were able then to determine the best time to plant their crops. They were able to determine the best time to move down from the mountainside, move down to the valley because that bad winter weather was coming. They learned when to bring their sheep, cattle down from the mountainside. They learned how to read that book called Mother Nature. Understand something. That level of knowledge, understand what I'm saying? I'm talking slow, I'm trying to make a point. That level of knowledge, in my opinion, in my estimation, as fantastic as it is, that level of knowledge is grammar school, elementary school. Even you heard me talking earlier about the tropical storm Ida and how because you learn how to read nature, we now have a 3 or 4 day warning and we can get our affairs in order. Learning how to read the weather, in my opinion, that's elementary. You see, and I say that's elementary because there are things in nature that some people know how to read God understand, and others don't. There are other levels of knowledge. There are levels of knowledge, and as Jesus Christ spoke about, everybody's not supposed to be able to see. Everybody's not supposed to be able to hear. There are levels of knowledge. Where some can operate, where some can operate in the spirit. Can operate in the spirit, understand the spirit. It might sound far-fetched, but if you read your Bible, you see what I'm talking about. Jesus Christ spoke about that. Jesus Christ spoke about, he knew this stuff. Jesus said, look, you ain't gonna be telling everybody about it because there's some folks who just can't take it. They're not ready. Their mind's not ready. Their body's not ready. They can't take it. You got to feed them milk because they're not strong enough to handle that solid food. Jesus Christ spoke about that. So let's get back. And I was talking about shamanism and shamans. And I dare say that in the year 21, August 26, 2021, there are shamans amongst us. The term shamanism evolved from the Evenk or Tungus language of North Asia. And you know, those of you that are familiar with the show, you know when I talk about geographical areas, I like to put maps up. You might not always have a clear understanding about where a particular geographic area is. So it's good to see. So now what you see on the screen now, when it talks about North Asia, right? Well, this is the Asian continent. And here you see Asia, and it talks about North Asia. So here we have North Asia, and there's, as you see on the screen, Russia. Next to Russia is green area, Europe. And then over Greenland, and we get into Canada. Okay, so there's North Asia, according to this scholar that wrote this. It evolved from North Asia. It was introduced into the West after Russia conquered the Khanate of Kazan in 1552. Upon learning about other religions with similar features, Western scholars applied the term to the indigenous religions in Asia, Australia, and the Americas. Those of you that may not really be familiar with Australia, there we go. Okay. All right. A shaman refers to a person who makes journeys. Uh-oh. A shaman refers to a person who makes journeys to other realities or worlds in an altered state of consciousness. That's shaman. Journeys to other. Now that sounds kind of weird. Doesn't the Bible speak about being in this world, but not of it? Doesn't the Bible talk about the carnal man and the spiritual man? A shaman refers to a person who makes journeys to other realities or worlds in an altered state of consciousness. And I'm going to stop there just for a minute. Okay? I'll stop right there just for a minute. Now, I said earlier that there are shamans walking amongst us right now. There's a popular term now amongst a number of younger people, and that is woke. Woke. Sometimes it's kind of hard to figure out what you mean you woke. Yeah, you woke. I see you standing up there walking and talking. Yeah, you woke. That's not what they're talking about when they say they woke. Mainly, uh, in today's younger society, when you folks talk about they're woke, it means that they've come to a realization, they've come to an understanding. They've come to an understanding, particularly when it comes to issues dealing with race. They've come to an understanding that racism, injustice still exists. There are some young folks that come and use that term, well, they woke. It's like they've been asleep. The opposite of woke is sleep. They woke. Their level of consciousness has been raised. And we hear, what we were just reading about the shamans operating in an altered state of consciousness. Maybe you can say that they're operating in a woke state of consciousness. That was Jesus said, into their eyes, do what? Let them see. Into their ears, let them hear. And the context in which that's written in the Bible, Jesus is not talking about using your eyeballs at these physical things, using your ears to hear words that are spoken. He's talking about being woke. Thousands of years ago, Jesus talking about woke. And they have eyes, let them see. Shamanism. Alter state. The journeys are intended to heal, get information, or do other things. In fact, if shamans do not get results, they eventually are not used by their people. You see, I can hear some of y'all right now talk about the shaman and all this hokey pokey stuff. All this weird stuff. Went into altered states and then being able to heal and do other things. That's spooky sounding kind of stuff. Isn't that what the Bible said that Jesus said? Jesus was able to heal. Not only was he able to heal, the Bible said he was able to raise folks from the dead. Matter of fact, the last few weeks in our words of inspiration, we might be able to get more verses to that. We've been reading about someone else that may be called a shaman. That somebody is Moses. All right? That somebody is Moses. Let's see. I'm gonna hurry up and finish this out. It's stretched out and it's lasted kind of long. I do want to try to get at least 2 verses of the scriptures. Now read a little bit of something here. Technically, shamanism is actually not a religion. It can coexist with religions. For example, in Siberia, shamanism is conducted with Buddhism and Lamaism, and in Japan, with Buddhism. Shamans are normally found in cultures which believe that there are spirits. And Christianity believes that there's spirits. Shamans interact with spirits to obtain results, like healing. Shamans do not exclude other methods of healing. The shaman's purpose is to make a person well. If this can coordinate with modern medicine or technology, most shamans would have no issue. As the modern world encroaches, tribal youth choose modern conveniences over learning traditional culture from their elders. Within a single generation, much of this wisdom could be lost. Archaeologists propose that tens of thousands of years ago, a somewhat uniform culture stretched around the northernmost regions of the globe. And let's see, all right, back to this, from the northernmost regions of the globe, from Greenland, and here it is, Greenland, and Scandinavia to northern Asia and Siberia, okay, Russia. The peoples of this circumpolar culture shared a common history and many religious beliefs and practices, including animism, shamanism, and ceremonies centered around hunting and animals. The culture of these migrants, the ancestors of the North American Indians, incorporated elements of religion based on both nomadic hunting and agriculture. And there's this belief known as, I was getting ready to skip some stuff, but let me go over. As in many goddess religions, The Native American conception divides the universe into heaven, earth, and underworld. Animals, places, even stones and trees can possess spirits that interact with humans in a kind of cosmic harmony. This belief, known as animism, is common to many pre-literate religions which hold that personal, intelligent spirits inhabit almost all natural objects, from stones, plants, and rivers to insects, birds, animals, trees, and mountains. In this regard, some, but not all places are sacred. Certain locations and animals are singled out as manifestations of the supernatural, including those seen in dreams or visions. In the 1600s, European Catholic and Protestant denominations sent missionaries to convert the tribes to Christianity. Some of these conversions occurred through government and Christian church cooperative efforts that forcibly removed Native American children from their families into a Christian/state government-operated system of American Indian boarding schools, also known as the residential schools, where Native children were taught European Christian beliefs, values of mainstream white culture, and the English language. This forcible conversion and suppression of indigenous languages and cultures continued throughout the 1970s. Traditional Native American ceremonial ways can vary widely and are based on the differing histories and beliefs of individual tribes, clans, and bands. Traditional beliefs are usually passed down in the forms of oral histories, stories, allegories, and principles, and rely on face-to-face teaching in one's family and community. As part of the U.S. government's suppression of traditional indigenous religions, both ceremonial ways were banned for over 80 years by a series of United States federal laws that banned traditional sweat lodge and Sundance ceremonies, among others. This government persecution and prosecution continued until 1978 with the passage of the American Indian Religious Freedom Act. One Native American ceremony is the Sundance. Some Native Americans view the sun as a great power in their spiritual world. Sundance, practiced by many cultures, is a way to honor the sun. It also allows warriors to experience awe-inspiring spiritual visions. This realistic dance involves erecting a large painted pole at the center of the dance place, fasting for the duration, painting, or otherwise decorating their bodies, and performing a vigorous circular dance. And when I read that last little piece there about fasting, reminded me of Jesus when he went and fasted, and I think it was 40 days that he fasted for. But again, let's go on because we only have a couple of minutes to go. And I do want to hit, matter of fact, I'm not going to do that. I was about to rush and go over a couple of scriptures, but we're not going to do that tonight. This is a good place and tonight's program. And we've read, and I've tried pointing out the similarities between the beliefs and practices of the Native Americans and some of the beliefs and practices of Christians. And I do that for one purpose, That one purpose, the same purpose as the purpose of this show. And that's to deliver the message that God is Almighty. You heard me make reference to some scriptures. You that have eyes, let them see. Or be able to see how similar we are. Or we're able to understand each other, get along with each other. More we're able to see that even though I might use the name God or the title God when I'm speaking about the Almighty, even though I might use that name, if you use the name Jehovah or you use the name Buddha, but if we're talking about the same thing, then we don't have to fight about which name is correct. We don't have to let that divide us. You see, there's some scripture that speaks about at one point in time in the history of the world, that all men understood each other. That's kind of a mind-blowing concept. That all men being able to understand each other. That you might come from China and you are able to understand somebody that comes from France. I know that there are people that speak 8, 9, 10 different languages, but the scripture said that all men understood each other. And because they understood each other, they didn't have to spend their energy and their time fighting about who was right about what this is, who was wrong about what that is. They understood each other. If I called this an orange and you called it an apple, it didn't matter because we understood what we was talking about. We were talking about this fruit. Or if you called that piece of fruit an apple and I called it an ink pen, it didn't matter because we understood what we were talking about. And we didn't have to fight about whose name was the right one. And the scripture tells us that because men understood each other, it started to achieve some things. And God said, look, it got to the point now where they are making so much progress and nothing that they attempt to do are they not going to be able to do. And it got to the point that men started building something, and it's something they call a tower. You go in your scripture, it'll tell you, it's the Tower of Babel. And God said, well, slow down now. Human beings, slow down a minute. Because when you come up with all of this togetherness, and nothing y'all gonna want to try to do that you're not gonna be able to do. And God said, I'm not quite ready for that yet. It's not because you're doing anything bad, anything wrong. But I'm not quite ready for you to reach that stage of development. And what the scripture say? How did God slow man down? How did he arrest that development? How did he put the brakes on? He confused their tongue. Confused their tongue so they could no longer understand one another. See, it got to the point, see, before God confused their tongues. This is what I was telling you about a minute ago. I could have this, and I say this is a coconut. That other man over there say, no, that's a ham sandwich. Even though I call it coconut and he called it a ham sandwich, we understood what we was talking about. We understood we was talking about this thing right here. If I say, go get that coconut, that man could go get that coconut. And he go get it. Even though he called it a ham sandwich, he go get it. And if he said, bring me that ham sandwich, even though I call it coconut, I mean, we talking about, I'll bring it to him. And fight about whether the right name was coconut or the right name was ham sandwich. He got past that. And when it's time to wrap tonight's show up, and as I wrap it up, as I said, only one purpose. That purpose is to live a message that God is Almighty, by no matter what name you may have been taught to call that being. If you were born and raised in China, you may have been taught one name. If you were born and raised in Ghana, you may have been taught another name. No matter what name you were taught to call that being by, no matter what name you may have come to know that being by, there is a being that is indeed Almighty. And my prayer in this upcoming week, know that Ida is on her way. You know the predictions about Ida, the forecast about Ida. I'm here to tell you, no matter how strong those winds might blow, no matter how high that water can rise, God, I'm here to tell you about and bring you through and bring you through in peace. That's my prayer. This upcoming week, no matter whatever God has planned for you in this upcoming week, may God Almighty bless you and yours with peace. Until we meet again here next Thursday on the message, may God Almighty bless you and yours